Okay, everybody, welcome back. Got another episode. Um, Today we're waiting on Gold Mine. He's got the link. We'll see if he comes on. But I've got an old buddy from elementary school on here with me tonight, Miss Letitia Hughes. So I'm gonna let her come on and say hi to y'all, and then we're gonna talk about some Mars retrograde, some astrology stuff, and specifically the retrograde as it relates to a flat Earth. So, Letitia, you want to come on and say hi?
Sure. Hey, everybody. And yeah, like Melvin said, we go way, way back to elementary school, and that's crazy because that's the power of Facebook right now.
Right. Yeah. So, do you remember? Hey, do you remember we used to call you Huggies?
Yes, and we called you. Well, we just called you Glass because that's all you had. That was it. That's it.
Yeah. So, okay, for everybody who's not in the know, we're about to enter a Mars retrograde. Um, for anybody who's unfamiliar with the term, basically what's happening is this particular luminary is going to change its course of direction. Now, the accepted excuse or this explanation for why this happens is because of the Earth's orbit, and they're saying that we're getting to a point to where it's going to look like Mars is traveling the opposite direction because of the way we're traveling. It's utter nonsense, if you ask me. Um, I just want to leave it right there and let you pick up and just kind of give me your feelings on the retrograde.
I was like, wait a minute, it's doing what? It's gonna
Right.
go backwards. And I mean, I honestly don't know much about astrology like I used to because it used to be cool when we were in like elementary school, and then society made it, oh, don't read too much into that. So I don't know much about retrograde and exactly like what it is, but I felt the shift since yesterday and been thrown off a little bit, so I knew something was up,
Yeah.
and came across an article a friend shared about it, and I was like, wow, this is exactly what I'm feeling and what makes sense for what's going on. But the whole backwards thing, I'm like, what does that mean? Why would it do that?
Yeah. I mean, so here's my thing. Of course, I'm coming with a flat Earth perspective because that's the reality. So,
Mm-hmm.
coming from a point of view where you're stationary, right, not moving, and everything
Yeah.
revolves around you, there's only one logical explanation for something changing the course of direction. It literally just did that.
Mm-hmm.
But for someone who has a different paradigm, right, they consider themselves to be part of an orbital or an elliptical orbit around the sun, I can see how they can easily be fooled into thinking that that Mars may just appear to be moving backwards when it's actually us. But
Oh, I was about to say, how does that work? How,
yeah, I mean,
how does it working with flat Earth? Like, what is it that's really happening?
so and on the flat Earth side of things, which I hate saying that because it's just what it is.
Me too. I
But
get you.
but everything orbits around you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything that you see above you is above you, and they're doing what they see or what you see them doing. But the thing is that we have to acknowledge the fact that they're somewhat conscious beings to one degree or another.
Hmm.
Um, if you look at your sun, right? You look at the moon. Um, they they're very reliable, right? You're going to
Yeah.
have a sunrise every morning. Like, you know what I mean? The moon is going to
Mm-hmm.
come out most nights, and you're not going to see it when it's in the new moon phase. Like, there's just things that are
Mm-hmm.
undeniable facts. Um, So the same is true with Mars. Like every 2 years, it goes into this retrograde, at least from our viewpoint. Um, I think it's just important to note that, when you see a shooting star, like what do you think that is? Like these are not just random things happening. I think that it's very divine. I think it's very intentional. And I think it's, something that we don't understand because we're so wrapped up in
Mm-hmm.
our carnal desires, right? Like we're wrapped up
Mm-hmm.
in getting shoes and clothes and going to the beach and shit like that. So, we we don't spend time looking up. You know what I mean?
That's
Like
true. That's true.
we,
I mean, and out
Mhm.
either if you think about it, because it's like it's up there, but it's also out there. Like I don't know what all is out there. I only know what I can see
Right.
because well, we're gonna go with how NASA shows it to us. Like I haven't seen it myself to say that that's real, and I think that that's funny because a lot of people, even in I'll call it like our carnal world at least, they act that way on just a day to day living basis. Like, oh, that's not true until I see it. I won't believe it until I see it. But we're so believing of what we've been told that it takes away the same things that we're already behaving like. So I think that is why for probably a lot of people the earth being quote unquote flat and then the planets doing this and even the shooting stars, asteroids even doesn't register to them because it's out there. It's somewhere out there.
Yeah. I mean, when we look at the stars, right?
Mm,
Um, we have the wandering stars, and then we have what we call the fixed stars, right? These are the ones that don't have they have their fixed constellations, right? So they stay relatively in place. Obviously, they do
mm-hmm.
make their transit, but there's the other luminaries that have their independence and they kind of do what they want to do. And for us to see one of these planets, stars, whatever you want to call them, make a, 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 a directional change into a constellation that it just came out of, and we claim that they're, however many light years away. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that if you're accounting for your relative, proximity to this star, that you can say that your movement is going to affect how you view something that's supposed to be millions of miles away. Uh,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, especially when
Yeah.
you're generally traveling in the same direction. Like, if you consider how long um a transit around the sun takes, right? Like they say it's 360. We're going with the heliocentric idea right now. You're going around the sun, it takes 365 days. So relatively, you're moving pretty slow through through the universe. How is it that all of a sudden one of the luminaries decides to just move its direction? You know what I mean? But
Yes.
you want to account
That
that you want to accredit that to your movement. I don't understand. I mean,
right. The world revolves around me. We revolve around the sun. But that one, he just jumped out, and then he's gonna come back and be normal in a couple of days,
right?
weeks. What?
No, that's crazy.
Okay. Hmm.
So,
That's weird.
right. Red, my brother is on the line, so I'm gonna ask him to unmute. That way y'all can say y'all's highs, and then we'll just keep going. So, bro, if you can hear us, come on and say hi to Letitia.
How you doing, Tisha? Letitia,
Hey.
my bad. How you
Look,
doing?
that's totally fine. However you feel like yeah, you just say whatever.
Respect, respect. Nice to make your acquaintance.
Likewise.
So yeah,
What you
bro,
over here chopping up, man?
we on here talking about this Mars retrograde that we're entering. So
I like how he laughed.
so I know you got a perspective on it.
I mean, not other than how you notice during the retrogrades, a lot of accidents spiking up. Um,
Hmm.
but I don't really got I'm gonna jump in a few. I'm gonna let y'all keep talking, but I don't want to disrupt the conversation too much. But like aside from the accidents spiking up in retrogrades, I can't think of nothing off the top of my head that would stick out to say.
I'll say
Well, that's
this.
new to me. What accidents? What are we talking about?
Okay, well we'll start with the celebrities.
Let's go there.
Who video was that we was watching? Was that Meek Mill or Dirt? When the little boy fell off the dirt bike and they kept it in the darn video.
The dirt. Let me look up the accidents because it's been reported a lot.
Mm,
As far as car accidents, your boy PM. I mean not PM.
Hmm.
I'm from tripping. PNB Rock.
Oh yeah.
Let me look up some more. 1 second.
mm.
A few accidents. I would equate that to maybe how the elements are changing during this time, or I mean, if you think about the word, it's like basically going back to something or going through a cycle. So,
Hmm.
Right.
maybe if people pay more attention to the retrogrades, you probably wouldn't want to do too much traveling during the retrograde. For real.
That's smart.
So let's take a step back and define something, right? So what does
Mm-hmm.
Mars represent? It's said to represent
Mm-hmm.
passion, anger, war, assertion, and separation, and its placement in your birth chart indicates how you pursue your goals. So
Hmm.
when this conversation kind of started today Facebook, and one thing that I, you know, said on Facebook, and I'll say it again now is, you know, to kind of arm yourself or prepare for things like this when you hear about it, because we most people may not pay attention and they might just chalk it up to happenstance. And if nothing severe happens, then you might, even go as far as to say it's just BS altogether. But
Or if it don't happen to you,
if it doesn't
per
happen
se,
to
you
Right.
know how
you,
people be. It
right,
ain't happened to me. I mean, my cousin was in a car accident, but it wasn't me.
right. My whole thing is to somebody else, you are somebody else. So
Yep.
Feel me?
It's like, and I told Letitia on Facebook, I said, when you start thinking about your winter clothes in the fall time. So when you know
Hmm.
some stuff coming up, it's just prepare yourself. So like Bruh said, don't travel as much during
Lessen
retrograde.
your chances of an accident.
Yeah, so just watch your moves, watch how you move. Or if you gotta move, you need to be looking two, three cars ahead of you, or whatever you feel like you need
Yep.
to do to protect yourself.
But what you talking about that Mars though, and what you went into, bruh, we finna go into relationships as well as
Oh
childhood
yeah.
traumas. You
So
feel me?
yeah,
Oh.
Be careful about certain things you talking about around this season, because
yes.
it could definitely go down. Like get to talking about some old childhood trauma with your mom and your dad if you want to. Right now, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? The energy is there for a
Wow.
fallout, but the energy is also there for y'all to make some progress. Should everybody keep they cool and stay balanced in the conversation?
Yep. My my little chart said during retrograde for Libra that that's what it said. Relationships can be the thing to take a toll. So it said something about
Mm-hmm.
past arguments coming up and stuff like that. Now anybody that knows me knows that I refuse to just I'm not gonna argue with you like we're not having no shouting
Hmm.
matches. I don't do that. But the point is
I'm gonna
that
talk with you.
yeah, we're gonna talk about it, but the thing is, it could
Nah,
also it
I was trying to say it nicely. I'm with it all. Like you wanna get loud, I'm getting loud. You wanna be
right.
calm, I'm gonna be
But
calm.
but
I'm
what
gonna
up?
mirror you. I'm like
Yeah.
vibranium, putting it right back
Look, I'm
at
like,
you.
what? What's your sign?
You about to get all that.
Oh,
I'm a Gemini Cancer, so
Whoa, no wonder. Because I was like, I do not act like that, but it sounds part like me. I'm a, well, Taurus Gemini. So,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
yeah,
The
like,
communication is on a high level. If If it ain't no
Yes.
communication, we got a problem. We
Oh,
not
that's
gonna talk to
Mhm.
that's
each
me too
other
though.
out.
You know that's me too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like us Libras, we
Mhm.
gotta have that balance. Like I'm not leaving no
Yeah.
open-ended situations. We gotta talk
Mm-hmm.
this shit out right now. I ain't know
Gotta
tomorrow.
have that balance.
Yeah.
But
So
you know,
what?
sometimes in a chaotic situation is to put a mirror. A balance is to put a mirror in front of somebody. Because as soon as if you can stay composed enough to know what you're doing, as
Yep.
far as putting that mirror to them, once they start pointing out what you're doing, you say, you know what? All right, you're right. I was really just trying to show you something that you're displaying to me, and it's really
Yep.
about to spike me up for real. But I can calm down with you because I'm not there yet. But I'm just letting you know you're being disrespectful to me. So if it's disrespectful to you, I stop and I apologize. But let's go forward, not doing that. Neither one of us.
Basics.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny because me, I'm like, oh, you showing out. You are showing out. You showing out right now. You
That's
know, I've
cute.
already been 3 steps
That
ahead of
is
you on this
really
topic.
cute.
That's real
Okay.
cute. Oh, you mad at me? Okay, well, I'm just gonna try to mirror you right here a little bit. I'm gonna show you yourself a little bit. You don't want to come up off of it? Well, here, I'm gonna slap you real quick.
You feel
Now
me?
you're not talking to me. Now we done. We done? Okay. That's me. And that's how I act. I feel like on
They get
Facebook too.
mad at me for being you. That's your problem then. If you mad at
Yes.
me for being you, hey, wear that shit. Wear
Right.
it.
Why
Yes.
are you mad
Wear it
bringing your
well.
mad to my mad? And I'm not trying to be mad like you. Like, no. You see, you are mad.
You
Not
ever
me.
seen how people be like, they be mad, and then once you get mad, these motherfuckers just calm down. Like, all
Yep.
right, well, I'm off of it. You know, it's
Well,
like,
that's definitely the
nah.
Gemini side.
You like,
That's
no, don't
definitely.
do that. Don't do that. No,
Yeah.
Don't back
I
up
mean,
now.
I would tell you this. It's the Gemini side that's like it can be. It's a uniqueness to that. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Like, if you haven't been allowed to express yourself and fully spread your wings, yes, you can come off very two faced because you
Mm-hmm.
want to please everybody. You don't want to ruffle nobody's feathers. So when other people tune in on that, it seems like, damn, this nigga playing both sides. But it's
Yeah.
just your ability to oscillate and put yourself in other people's shoes. But once you get mature about that, you can let people know this is me, my nigga. I'm not finna choose a side for
Right?
none of y'all. You
Yeah.
feel me?
Hey, so it's
I
so
understand
funny.
all y'all.
It's funny hearing y'all side of
That is totally,
how
totally
y'all
me right
handle
there.
it,
It's funny.
cause coming from the Libra angle, I'm gonna talk you into a stupor. Like I'm finna break this shit all the way down so much that it ain't even gonna be nothing but one side once I'm done talking.
That's it. That's totally a Libra right there.
Yeah, and look,
Totally.
that's your Libra side being
That is.
you utilizing your Libra through Taurus because it's communication.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me?
Oh
So
yeah,
you definitely coming through that throat. Like, I'm gonna tell you what's on my mind, but my intention is coming from Libra, trying to provide balance to the conversation,
Yep.
absolutely,
or knock you off balance if I'm on negative. Then I'm gonna knock the fuck out you. That's that Libra
Yep.
for you. They know how
yeah.
to knock you off balance. They know
Man,
leverage.
they do. One of my close friends, man, she's like that, and I'd be like, good gracious, little feisty
Like,
Italian girl.
dang,
I'd
I
be like,
can't even
dang,
avoid it. God damn
wow.
it. Got me again.
Hey,
Hmm.
so let me ask y'all a question. Let me ask
Did
y'all
you
a
see these
question.
facts right here? Okay, well, let me load them all
Right,
up on you real quick because you
right.
wasn't paying
Yeah,
attention.
Leave me alone.
let me ask y'all a question
So
real quick.
funny.
So
What's up,
why do y'all
girl?
think that the luminaries have an effect on you? I kind of want to
Oh,
answer this, like let everybody get their little go with this question, and then we can start with whoever. I want to go last though.
Ooh, ladies first. Ladies
oh
first.
man. Well, yeah. I mean, it's all energy. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
God created the heavens, the sky, the earth, the universe, and we know that that is vast, and that
Right.
energy all comes from the same source. So,
Mm-hmm.
if we're a projection of that source as well, why wouldn't we be influenced, controlled, not really controlled, but influenced, I guess I should say, really, by, and that would be the
Right.
luminaries, the actually, I mean, like even the light that's in certain people, like if it's a good light or a bad light, they still affect us in some way because we're all consciously
Well,
connected to the same source.
mhm.
Hmm. Okay, bro.
Veggie backing on everything she said. It's definitely elements at play. You know what I mean? Within these luminaries, they consist of many elements, just as well as our bodies are comprised of. Not to mention the planet. You know what I'm saying? So when you see these elements interacting with each other, no matter what appearance of solid forms, you know what I'm saying? We still dealing with elements at play. So it's like dealing with that electromagnetic
This Mars
pulsation that is
retrograde,
keeping us in this existence. It's like
astrology.
it's a constant tug and war and a constant cycle. You know what I'm saying? That leads to
I'll
a
be uploading it
uniqueness that
when we get through.
evolves to all the stuff we was just talking about as far as our signs of the different times when our signs are
Stay tuned.
amplified or our signs go into the appearance of other signs. You feel me? Because real
Mm-hmm.
talk, we got all of these signs within us. It's just some of us are born with like
They're
the
coming back.
appearance of God given talents because of what time they was
They'll be
born
back.
in.
Amen.
But let me. They waiting
But
on me.
Mello, I ain't gonna do you like
All
that.
right,
I'm gonna
bye.
leave food at the buffet. So
Yeah, man. So I mean, here's my thing, and it's funny because I was talking to the kids about this yesterday. Well, not specifically about Mars retrograde, but about my view on why they even could affect you. And of course, I'm gonna tie this back into flat Earth.
okay,
So when we
we got
talk
to do it.
about when we talk
Mm-hmm.
about a planet or a luminary, it's clear that they are emanating some type of light. I don't know how many people have actually taken the time to look at them through telescopes, but they look like lights in water. That's what
Mm-hmm.
they look like. They don't look like places that have land on them. And you can say that's because they're so far away, all of this stuff, whatever. I'm just telling you what it looked like to me. That's true for the planets that move and for the ones that are fixed stars. So as far as I can tell, they're luminaries. And one thing I know about light is information, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, the reason I know it's information is because if I cut off the light, let's say I put you in a dark room, right? And I ask you to tell me about the stuff in this room. You have nothing that you can give me. There's nothing you can say because you was blindfolded coming in here and there's nothing, you don't have anything. I mean, you could walk around and touch, right? So that would give you some information, right? But when I cut the light on, you'll get a new set of information, right? So like if
Mm-hmm.
you felt like a box, right? When you was feeling around in the dark, when I cut the light on, you'll be able to tell me, hey, it's a brown box with red writing on it. Well, light is information. It gives you information. Um, we have multiple ways of sensing and interpreting that information, right? We know that the skin converts sunlight into vitamin D. So what does
Mm-hmm.
it do with other forms of light? You know, that's something to consider because we can't dismiss a light that's coming from seemingly far further away. It may not be that further away. It may be a dimmer light. So
That's true.
I think that if you're influenced, you can't choose when you're influenced by light, right? If you see the light, it has an influence one way or another. You're gonna think something when you see it at the very least. So
Yep.
if it's if the sun's rays are directly over you midday, you're gonna be hotter. As the sun carries on, the heat's not gonna be as intense. So one way or another, if you want to look at it from a very surface level, or if you want to go deep, the position of a luminary, a light, anything like that, is going to have an effect on you. And I just don't see how it can be any other way. So when it comes to the question of whether or not these luminaries have an effect, whether or not a retrograde can have an effect, my answer is how could it not?
Right. Just to veg back on what you're saying as far as effect, I would go as far as to tell you to say influence.
Influence, yeah,
Because
absolutely.
whichever way this luminary is going is where you going. So when you get worried about these full moons, you know, things occur on these days, just recognize where are where are you mentally before these full
Yes.
moons come? because it's just like running and not knowing a cliff was there. Wherever you are mentally that you run into in your mind, when that full moon come, it's gonna accelerate you right off
Yep.
or right up. You know what I'm saying? So just one of those things to remember, the little things that we used to do as kids, like be aware of the shit that you give your time to.
Right.
Because
Mm-hmm.
involuntary these things will take over your mind when you so called get bored or you just in your head.
Yeah, I'm with that. 110%.
Man, that's deep. Reminds
But
me of the
that's
allegory of the cave and how important the light is in that situation. And I don't know if y'all know a lot about that, but it's simple.
don't get to talk about caves because me and Melvin get to have a whole other
Oh
conversation
no,
when
not
we
the
talk about the
caves.
culture of the caves and shit.
We
Man.
gonna call it the shadow the puppets on the walls. Then that's all I'm focusing on. I just need people to leave the puppet show and go and see who the puppet masters are because they control the light that people
You
are
feel me?
using to see the truth. But we can leave that alone too for right now. It just gave me the whole idea when we started talking about the light.
Yeah, nah, I feel you. And then what about the lights within like caves? Like people talk about the phosphorus, what they call it, compounds, or what they
Yeah.
call that stuff that they
Oh,
see inside the
I'm
caves,
I'm
man.
glad you said something about phosphorus because I've been wanting to get on the moon. But go ahead, I'll let you
Okay.
finish your thought though.
But like in Gatlinburg, I want to say it's Gatlinburg. They got the little caves that you can, they let you walk through, and then it has the different materials coming up off of
Salts,
that, huh?
the salts, the phosphate.
Yeah, that stuff,
I
and then
think.
it be different
Yeah,
crystals too sometimes. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
just thinking about those are lights as well. You know
that's
what I
true.
mean?
Yeah.
That's deep.
And they have like an ability to like it's almost like having night vision, right? It's like they have the
Yeah,
capability to take the smallest amount of light and just magnify it, right? So you could be
Mm-hmm.
come
in
on, man.
what would normally be a completely dark place and be able to see. So yeah, that's deep.
Y'all gonna make me get
For
some
the
crystals.
As I was finna say, for my people with the crystals, me
I'm
being
Yeah.
an
about to.
empath, the luminaries is the perfect time to activate your crystals as well as cleanse them.
That's
So
something I
the
want to
karma
learn
will
more
teaching me
about.
about.
That's something I want to learn more about because I'll be honest, that's something that I have not dug into. Interested,
Let
but
me
just
tell
have
you
not
this
dug. Huh?
before, but yeah, let me tell you this for everybody that's interested, like, cause certain things you be like, man, I wish I knew about this sooner. The good news is there's crystals within you. These crystals
Mm-hmm.
are just like they're like reminders as well as amplifiers. Just like people wear important tattoos on their bodies to remind them of certain things that are already within them. So let
It's
these
true.
crystals remind you of you. Don't do that thing like Christianity and start putting the divinity outside of you.
Hmm. Okay.
Mm.
But
That's when
look,
you lose your power.
I want to bring something up real quick since we're doing luminaries all together because I think the Mars retrograde is a pretty it's pretty simple. Like it's not much meat on them bones right there, right? Like it's clearly moving backwards. They tell you which constellations it goes back into. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the damn thing goes backwards. So on to the
But
next
I
one.
think with 2020 though, because it's
Uh,
like a certain alignment that's coming along
Mm-hmm.
as well as going on.
hmm.
We'll treat that much like an onion and pour the last back as we go in the conversation because I'm finna dig in right now while you talking.
Okay. Yeah, cool.
I wanna give
So
it 2 cents.
he said something about phosphorus, and it made me think about because I've been wanting to address the moon situation, right? Because of course the stuff we're taught in school is that the moon is a rock, right? But then they tell you that this rock reflects the sunlight, and yeah,
Rocks don't
so
reflect light.
rocks don't
But it's a
reflect
rock
light.
though.
Yeah. So, but but they tell you it's a chunk of Earth.
But
I don't know any chunk of Earth that's gonna reflect light that brightly. I mean, uh, you
Right.
know, there's no visible light all around the moon. It just it's like the sun is just a laser beam just focused on the moon, right? And
Right.
so, you know, that's that on that. But let's talk about
Wait,
like
so what does that mean that he's got the moon?
say that again.
And he okay, so this is a question I do have. And
Uh-huh.
I'll ask it again kind of in here. But with the
Mm-hmm.
moon,
Hmm.
I've heard that it reflects it gives off its own light.
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
know how,
Mm-hmm.
but does that tie into it having crystals? Like, is it its own bearer of light?
Yeah, I
I
mean,
would.
it's
Yeah, I would not doubt that because if we talk, even if we just keep it simple, like what they told us in school with the rock situation, a rock is consisted of minerals. So these minerals could, become compounds. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what minerals is in this so-called rock of a moon, I wouldn't doubt that it could give off its own light.
yeah,
Because you can look at some crystals that they appear just like rocks. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But the difference between crystals, I would say, and rocks is organized energy, and one is more. The rock is chaotic energy,
That's true.
just disorganized,
well, let me say this. So the moon is supposed to be
which makes it
about
stagnant, which
the
makes the
moon is
rock
supposed to
stagnant.
be about 240,000 miles from Earth, right? This is what they
Yeah, I
tell
don't
us.
think it's that far.
It don't look that far. Like you have eyes, you can see that that moon is not that far. But one
I
thing
can see the
about
spots on the moon.
right, one thing about the moon is that it is one thing about anything that's above your head is that it is light. Okay, light is a relative term. It depends on what you're talking about. So light can be something that is illuminating the room or it can be something that's weightless. And things that float in the sky are relatively weightless. This is a measure of density,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily the weight of the item, because clouds weigh millions of pounds, but they float because they're not dense. You can fly through a cloud. Even though it has a ton of weight, it's not very dense, right? It's vapor.
Yeah.
So anything floating above your head is definitely not a rock. You know, I mean, they don't rocks don't float. The air is too thin. um, I get that. They told us that it's being you know held in check by Earth's gravity, but we don't have not one demonstration of one object's mass attracting the mass of another object. So we can just push that to the side. Sticking with the flat Earth conception here. Um, the light, the moon is a light, and it is light. It's weightless relatively. Um, but the phosphorus thing, I was doing some research. This is maybe a couple of years ago because I was stuck on the moon for a while, and I was looking at different types of light, right? Because me and Kyrie, we did a moonlight test. There was this whole thing about, and that was maybe maybe 4 years ago, we did the moonlight test, where you basically put things in moonlight and some things in moonshade. And
mm.
basically, the things in moonlight are going to be colder than the things in the moon shade. Now, what this would tell me is that the moon has a cooling effect on whatever item, right? Um, so I was thinking about that. I was like, what kind of light is cool? Because we know light as it's a usually a chemical reaction, um, and one that involves heat. Like it can be a chemical or a physical reaction. Light can, but it's going to
Mm-hmm.
involve heat. So I was like, what kind of light is is cold? So I came across phosphorescence, right? So phosphorescence is um, a source of light that usually absorbs light from another entity and releases it slowly over time. So this would be like a glow in the dark ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have like a glow in the dark ball. You put it in the darkness, it glows until it runs out of glow. You expose it to the light again, it'll do the same thing. So when we think about the way the moon operates, it doesn't fully illuminate like a glow in the dark ball would. but it waxes and wanes, right? Like it lights up slowly, and it's real bright, and then it fades back out. And phosphorus is when it's activated, it produces like a white smoke in certain applications. It's like we know it, like you said, the light bearer. It's that chemical that we know to create a bright white light when it's detonated like in bombs and stuff like that. So I tend to think that the moon has a high phosphorus content. I think it's a phosphorescent entity that, because think about the orbit, right? New moon is sun and
Hmm.
moon right here together, right? And as the month goes on, right? Now you can't see the moon. My forehead with the ring on is the sun. You can't see the moon at this time. It's translucent. And as time goes on, what happens is the moon starts to wax. It gets brighter and brighter. And then as we get to this point here, with his hands in the back, what you have is you have a full moon, right? The moon is completely bright, and then it
Mm-hmm.
wanes back out.
Hmm.
So I just wanted to put that out there because I'm still studying it, and I just want people's feedback on that. What y'all think about the moon being something that absorbs the sun's light, or maybe it's absorbing light that's leaving the earth because we say the soul is light. So what if it's literally the reaper, right? The reaper of souls.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and
I've
then
heard that.
they say the sun. We talked about this last week. Uh, the sperm is called Aurora seminalis, right? We know Aurora is the sun. Um, so
Hmm.
we contribute the sun to male energy, right? And we contribute the moon to female energy, feminine energy. So she would be the one who, you know what I'm saying, the nurturer. You know what I'm saying, the one that gets it back. The sun is the giver, the moon is the receiver. Male and female. Male is the giver, the woman is the receiver. Uh, I think it's deep, man. I think it's deep. I think that's what's happening. I think the sun literally reaps. I think it's either receiving light from the sun or it's collecting light from the earth. And that's why you can see it waxing and waning. That's just me on some deep on some deep stuff. So
Yeah, it's so deep that I know I've been struggling. Just this is basic. I don't know what y'all. I just been struggling when I go outside at the same time every night to let the dogs out, and I look up and I'm like, oh, where's the moon? And it's at different parts in the sky, and sometimes that reminds me how you can see it during the day.
right,
And I just go, I don't understand this thing, this moon that is, in orbit around the Earth at however many meters per hour. I don't even know, but when I think about where it gets its light, of course, I always thought it was from the sun, but it still doesn't make sense because of how it can be out during the daytime when the sun is out for me.
yeah. I
I'm
mean,
still playing with that.
you can have a full moon, or you can have a waxing moon in daylight. You can have a moon that's damn near a full moon in
Yeah.
daylight. So and they'll be right next to each other, just about. You know what I
Yes, that's where
mean?
I was like, wait a minute, this
I
is
mean,
not
it's
adding up.
yeah, and then when the moon goes into the new moon phase during the daytime, or if you have like a very small crescent moon in the daytime, I mean,
Hmm.
it's clear that that little sliver is responsible for itself. It doesn't,
Yes.
it's not reflecting the
Like,
light from the sun.
right, like where are you hiding the rest of the moon?
Right,
You should be. I think I'm confused too on how it can be full and then it cannot be. Like the little sliver.
exactly.
I cannot make that make sense at all. Like, okay, is there something blocking the moon, which would be us?
Yeah,
Other than that man taking souls, I couldn't tell you.
yeah. I mean,
Other than that man taking
you can see it with a good
like
pair of
it's a
binoculars or a
planet,
telescope.
period.
You
Solar
can see the
flare
rest of the
burn to
outline
us.
of the moon, and you can still see some of the spots. But I'll tell you something that's even deeper. if you get your astrology game right and you start studying like where stuff is in the sky, you can even see stars through the moon.
Whoa.
So I mean, I think that kind of cancels Christmas right there. I mean,
That did.
there's a few people
I
who,
mean, it's a celestial body. I mean,
yeah,
or even we ain't got to go into the celestial right now. It's a luminary, just like the conversation we talking about. It's a light. You know what I'm saying? So that whole
Are,
rock shit is out the water. It's a light.
basic.
so how does it work for Earth though? Aren't we? Okay, let's say if I was on the moon, like we
Mm.
lived on the moon and we looked at the Earth because there are people that lived here. How does that work for us? Like, can things be seen through Earth?
Mm.
Well, when
That's crazy.
what is the nature of your existence on the moon? Like, I don't think you become incarnate on the moon. You know what I mean? I don't think
I don't
you
know.
exist
That's
in the
where I'm struggling.
physicality. If the moon, if we're taking the idea that the moon is the reaper, and it would be like a transitional phase, like it'll be something that takes you into another world, so to
Yeah.
speak. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Or send you back here, but you wouldn't exist.
Something.
You wouldn't exist in your current state there because I mean, think about what they tell you about the moon, even from their, from
You
their,
exist in one part of your current state.
right. Well,
The
think about
real
what they
you.
tell you. They tell you there's no oxygen, there's no water, and we know we need these things to even be physical
Yeah.
beings. So you would
So
have
they'd be
to,
like underground on the moon if they even could create oxygen there.
right.
Yeah.
Which reminds
Huh.
me, they put out an article saying they found rust on the moon.
That's
How you
weird.
find rust if ain't no oxygen or no water?
Right. What
Just
the?
playing game.
Playing games. Just got to
It's
So
keep,
not the distraction.
yeah, that's all.
this is a. It's almost a dumb question. I think it's just because I flipped a switch somewhere in there. It's gone. Um, is the
Tell
moon in the dome? I call
And
it the dome. Inside of it, or is it right above it? It's in
well,
it.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know, and I don't even know if there is a dome. I will say that I think that there's a sound barrier.
I call it a dome, quote unquote.
Yeah,
Weird.
yeah. I
There
mean,
you go. I can see.
yeah, I think it might be a sound barrier. And when I say sound, we know that there's sounds that we can't hear, right? Like dogs can hear stuff we can't hear. So we're talking
Uh huh.
about a different. You know what I'm saying? I mean, sine wave sounds. Anything along a sine wave, that's sound. Light is visible sound. So there's energy that surrounds the earth. You remember they showed you the picture in school where you had the globe and then you got the lines coming out the top of the globe going back in. You had the N at the top and the S at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? Like it was radiating.
Mhm.
It's you. So that's what we're dealing with. That's based in fact. That's based in a fact in fact, but
Science.
it's
Yeah.
kind of like a perverted version of it. It's not, it's a plagiarized version of it, I guess you could say.
Interesting.
This
Yeah,
is
I was thinking
evolved.
because I'm like, wait a minute. Okay. If I think
That's a
about
good
Operation
question about
Fishbowl.
that light, though. Like, where is it coming from? What she was saying, like, because I've heard people say, not to cut you off, I
No, no.
apologize.
Good.
Um, I've heard people say when it comes to the sun, as far as where its light come from, they don't quite know where the source of it comes from. You feel me? Like it could
Mm-hmm.
be like that sound barrier you talking about. It could be something in that sound barrier that's you know what I'm saying, giving weight to this light. You know what I mean? Whatever elements that's creating that sound barrier that's just above us. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? Could be giving weight to this light or what appears as a light in our world.
exactly. And that's what I was gonna say. That would be my answer. So if there was a dome or a sound barrier, then these two things exist within it. They're a result of it.
What
Uh,
about this, Mill?
Ooh.
uh
Sound that's so like fast or maybe high that they say at certain pitches we can't hear. You know what I'm saying? But a dog can hear. But
right,
just imagine something that's high, so high that they can't hear it. Animals.
right.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I mean,
I just know when people say sound barrier, sometimes a mind with reason to say is no sound. But I'm thinking sound and light, intelligence, all that seems synonymous to me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like like think about this. Think if you had a speaker, right? Like a really, really big speaker, and you
Hmm.
played a tone over that speaker. Like when I say a big speaker, I'm talking about like the size of a semi, just a big ass speaker.
That's pretty big.
Would you even hear it or would you just feel it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it might literally bounce you
No,
around like
I am about them senses, nigga. I
yeah.
feel like we feel everything, but that might be just the cancer in me.
No, we do feel everything, but I'm saying like if I
I just
had
know the astrological joke 'cause they say cancer seem always lead sentence. I feel like,
yeah, I feel you. But I'm saying like if I went with this tone right here, if I went with that tone right there, but I magnified it right
mm-hmm,
on I turned the tractor trailer size speaker all the way up. Would you even hear
mm-hmm,
it or would you just feel it? You get what I'm
Oh,
saying?
I think you feel it more than you hear it. And my reason for saying that is, when you go to the concerts and the clubs and you be too close to their speakers and you be like, "Dang, this is loud," but you feel it in your
Hmm.
body,
Right.
like
mm-hmm.
the music when it hits certain notes, you just like, "Dang, that kind of hurt." Ugh.
Yeah.
And it didn't really hurt my
Right, right.
ears; it hurt my body in some kind of way. So that's what I'm thinking, at least.
Yeah. That's what I think too.
Take it even further. The fact that you can feel it, like I always say, everything is feel, even the
Mm-hmm.
so-called vision, because it's a light hitting your pupil.
Got
You
that
know what I'm
right.
saying? And then your brain works it out to give you a vision. So technically, everybody appears how you assume they would appear. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So if everybody ugly, you might want to check your mind. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just, I'm
You
just
saw
thinking
that
with
wrong.
that's your fault. My fault. Your eyes. Let me get you some glasses.
Let me get you some
But
glasses.
even like, okay, before we get off of the sound, like the sound above us, think about the moon and the sun, just like you would look at a battery and see that negative and that positive. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
And to me, that would definitely give way to just like when you looking at the side of that battery, it's showing you that. So on the side of this sound bar that's above us or this sound barrier, you know what I'm saying, as Melvin is talking about, it's a light coming off of that. It's been
Mm-hmm.
studies that show different lights that come from different vibrations being allowed to be magnified, like different cytoplasm or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it could be something that if we had a laboratory, I would definitely like to, what I'm saying, see further into because the ancient people would move things with ultrasonic vibrations.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
That is so true. It's so true. Wow. I mean, the light definitely ties to the sound, that ties to the wavelengths and the frequency, and that's again how everything's connected. So I know that's how we have to feel stuff. And
mm-hmm,
it's crazy because I was thinking about a video I watched. Gosh, I can't even remember what the name of it was, but it was talking about the different dimensions, of course, of things and
mm,
um, how you see things differently in 3D versus 5D
right.
versus 7D. And I said, oh my goodness. So people back in ancient times, they would think maybe we're crazy right now because all of our stuff
Right.
is so compacted to where we can't see how connected it is.
Mm-hmm,
And
Hmm.
that, like you were saying, they could move stuff. I mean,
mm-hmm,
just by like thinking about it or like creating some kind of energy field because they understood the frequencies and
right.
stuff of
Mm-hmm.
light and sound because that really is real. And
And
we,
that was
I feel
their
like
everyday
we could,
practice,
yes,
working with
every
that.
day. I said, how were the pyramids built? Because it sure wasn't the people did it.
You feel me?
Mm,
But if you think about the everyday person dealing with scientific things such as what we're discussing, and they tangibly dealing with these things every day just
mm-hmm.
to live their everyday life, like you know what I'm
Right.
saying? They understanding the basis of the negative and the positive.
Whereas,
Yes.
like you said, we compact our stuff, which the way I hear it a lot of times is we complicate it. You feel me? So
Hmm.
that's why I like the flat Earth conversations because it takes the complication away from travel. You see what I'm
Yep.
saying? Because a lot of people don't feel like they can just get a boat themselves or buy a plane themselves and teach themselves how to navigate and actually
Right.
do it. You know what I mean? Because the complication of
Oh,
the
you can't do that.
Western, the
Yes.
Western education, which
Hmm.
leads to professions. I mean, it has its purpose in certain cases because you have people that are, I would just say, daredevils. You know what I'm saying? That
Yep.
shit, they have impulse they self. You feel me? So in a sense, you kind of keep people alive in certain sense. But the people that are brave enough to learn the information, I feel like don't get so caught up in the school upbringing to where you keep testing. You know what I'm saying? At some
Yeah.
point, really just go out here and do it and be sure of your actions. You feel me? And even if shoot, if I make a mistake, I'm gonna learn from it. You feel me? And I'll be able to correct it because I'm
Yeah.
prepared for that.
I think they
And
did
the
a good job
preparation
of
is not
taking that
knowing
away
it.
from us. I
What
said
you
good
say?
job. I think they did a good job of taking that away from us because it was this piggybacking off of your point about there's some daredevils out there that'll do it anyway. Learn from it, continue, do it again. And
Right.
then there's some of us that have been, we can't see you. We don't ask questions. We don't think anymore.
But we know
And it's
everything on the
like,
subject, but we ain't doing
right,
it.
know everything about it, but would never go and use it or do it and apply it in a way that could actually like make a big difference or make a change because we're fearful. And I think,
We like
gosh,
a
it's the
think
part I
tank
hate
for the
about like
world.
society. They put us into fear so much that we don't do the things that our ancestors or the ancient people old
Mm,
times were probably just doing because they
right.
didn't have that fear. They were just like out here in the world creating.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Think about
Stuff.
how.
not to mention they didn't
Okay.
have the things, you know what I'm saying, blocking them, right? The
Yeah.
responsibilities that we've been forced to take, that
Hmm.
are
Mm.
such time killers. Like, I
Yes.
mean,
Speaking of society, y'all know I like to connect the dots. Society plays as a luminary for all of us. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Us recognizing the societal norms and things as that set nature will lead to little kids watching cartoons that are acceptable, in their childhood times, and then watching, if you were sensitive enough, some of that stuff gonna rub off on you, just like you was kicking it with that.
is it
People
me
do
or
things
is he cutting out?
like that because make it that way. You follow
Yeah.
the societal norms if you don't take control of your own thought process. You, whether you know it or
Yeah.
not, you just fall under it.
Right.
So many people haven't got that yet. Like,
Like the sun and the moon, you fall under that shit.
man.
Straight up. Well, so since we kind of on the oh shoot, hold on. Hold on. I think my internet. Yeah, my internet, man. What in the world is going on? Golly. Hopefully the meeting didn't end. Hopefully I can hop back in here. Oh man, I'm gonna have to put this out of the video.
True. Mm.
Everybody.
Man, this internet tripping. Retrograde. Can y'all hear me?
First of all, that's an opportunity to pay us for. Doing? You just
That's what
getting
I was
relaxed. You
just
getting flabby. You know what I'm saying? You letting shit go.
saying.
Like you can't be sitting up
You
here going
getting
off on everybody else, and
passive.
you 0 and 10 with doing what you supposed to do with them. Like quit
Yep.
playing. Quit
Be like,
playing.
why you
Don't
getting
be talking
hateful?
shit to
Why you
me.
staying that way? You've been that
You
way for
being that
15
way
years.
because
You
you
know
ain't
you can
handling your
change.
business. You ain't handling your
Right.
business. Like this
Okay.
motherfucker look just like me. Ain't gonna be two of us sitting around here bullshit. Oh, okay. Be two of us. Nah, nigga, we go die. If nobody don't do nothing, get your ass out. Nah, I start with you,
Man.
nigga. Start with you. Cause I'm telling
Yes.
you,
The
motherfucker
why
get
are you
tired of
acting
seeing you
like
do
that? You changed. Oh gosh. Really? Was it for the worse or was it for the better? Because I think it was for the better for me.
you
But
hear
if
me?
you think it's for
Everybody
the worse,
changing.
what's wrong with you? Did you not change?
Everybody changing. Shit, you feel me? You either
It's true.
getting better or you getting worse.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, let me do a
You
mic
feel
check real quick. Can
me?
y'all hear me?
Yep. We
Yep.
hear you
Okay.
good.
Man, my internet is tripping. That retrograde done got me. I had to
Yeah, talking that shit, talking that shit.
I
Your
had to
mama
look.
gonna make you. She gonna make you put some respect on that name.
Oh, it's all respect over here. I just had to move to a different part of the house. I'm like, man, let me get some better internet.
I ain't playing with you.
Crazy. But yeah, man, I missed about a good 3, 4, 5 minutes.
But look though, peep this, Murph.
Oh, dang. Look, we know.
We gonna break this shit down just a little bit, and I know me saying some of this stuff going just in the first sentence gonna draw out some conversation. But about every 26 months, Mars retrograde. You feel me?
Yeah,
Earth comes up on ups from behind and overtakes Mars. Now we know we don't play that, that up from behind. We talking about the energy that comes from Earth. You feel me? Like, so with that being said, that two and that six, that's eight.
That's endless possibilities. So with these accidents, you feel me? The accidents to me are a result
Mhm.
of people just winging it.
Oh
You know what I'm
yes,
saying? When you just
yes.
out here doing whatever, if you don't gotta go nowhere and you out here, it's a guarantee you might get in an accident. You know what I'm saying? It's a good chance you might get in an accident. You feel me? So with that
Hmm.
being said, make sure your intentions is in the right direction. I know you can't hear because your headphones are that shit loud. Let me get you a nice. But make sure your intentions is in the right place. Because shoot, the luminaries ain't fooled. You know, if you had an aerial view of everything that was going on down here, bro, you would definitely be clued in. But the fact
They
that
would
you
be
on the
like,
ground with it, a
"You
nigga can get
crazy."
some shit around you. You feel me? But
Hmm.
if you in tune with your luminaries, you feel me, and the energy that you have that is up there, bro, you can have that area view. Do your homework on niggas like you used to.
Yep. Hey, you just said whole world. I just felt the world shift. That was really, really weird, but cool. Uh,
We did that.
that was crazy. I just saw the room move. Like did I just move back? Um,
This is
the
this a
crazy
charging
part
moment. We
too
got
about that,
three
like people
people on here.
listening, is for me when I was going through some stuff like heavy, like 20s, what was that, like 2013, definitely 2014. I was training the heck out of myself on how to listen to the spirit, the energy in the world, my voices within, the one that was supposed to be the one I really listened to, and not the ones that weren't me. And I think it's crazy because I worked to get that far, but other people are ignoring that, and they're just like you said, just going out here, just
Winging
whatever,
it.
winging it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you can't do that. Like, if I would have winged it, okay, this is a crazy example, but it happened. If I would have winged it this one day and put in my order through the app for Chipotle, because that's what I wanted one day, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't need it. I really didn't, y'all. I had been to the grocery store like the day before, and I just really was like, I am not gonna cook. I want Chipotle. I'm out. I'm gonna get
Right.
it.
I just don't feel like doing it.
Yes, I don't feel like it. Don't you know? I pulled up to Chipotle. I was sitting there talking on the phone with a friend for like 15 minutes, and I still wanted to put the order in. Oh, my little thing is trying to remind me to go to bed. Look, don't listen to that in the background. But I pulled up. I was talking to my friend, and then I got ready to get out of the car, and I didn't want to go in because I've been like, I don't want to wear the mask. But we're gonna table that. Someone was like, no, you gotta go in. So I went in. Was like, yes, I like to get salad, and I like to get black beans. And he's like, oh, we don't have any black beans. And I was like, okay, that would have been fine. On the order online, they would have just substituted maybe. And then I was like, okay, I want black beans and chicken. And he said, we don't have any chicken. And I was like, excuse me? We
Man, I
ain't
ain't got
got no
shit.
chicken. So if I would have put the order in, I would have paid for something and I wouldn't have even been able to get what I asked for. Like,
Right.
See?
there's a
Now
whole
that's a
misdirection
perfect
there.
example. That's a perfect
A
example
whole
of what happened in
mis,
life with us.
because
You
it
feel me? You
told
be
me to
like,
go
why I
into the
can't get what?
building.
Oh no, I'm on mute.
Yes. Oh no,
Thought I
you're
was on.
not. I can hear you.
Oh, my bad. I ain't mean to chime in like that, but you just gave a perfect example how life be with us. We be like, why I can't get what I want? You
Mm-hmm.
feel me? But like you said, if you would just mailed it in or did it from the app, you wouldn't have known nothing. But with
Nothing.
us, being in tune with the luminaries, it gives us an opportunity to have that insight to
You
know
know,
when
Mm-hmm.
the right time to get certain things
I am
because
just to
it's already in the air for that. You feel
I,
me? Just like it
Yes.
would have been at Chipotle, everything that you wanted. You know what I mean?
Everything.
just to
And then
add a
it
little
winds
bit
me up
to.
to be like, okay, do you want this salad? Okay, you're gonna have to compromise on the beans because they only got the pinto beans versus the black beans. And then, okay, because you compromise on getting the pinto beans, guess what? You ain't got no chicken. Do you want steak? And that's what happened. I was like, I don't want steak.
It's
Right.
like,
What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? This,
Hey, but I
and
just
I
want to
just
I
stopped
want
and
to
was
add
like,
something
God,
to that.
I know that was you talking to me and telling me that that's why you need me to come in here. And I caught the whole lesson. Thank you. I'm gonna go home now.
I want to add something to that too, though, because it you can also look at it as like a reminder that sometimes we need to pump the brakes, right? So like we get
Mm-hmm.
so involved in all the stuff that we doing, and we we get caught up. So like what we do is we don't we don't put the hands on the things that we should be touching. We want to we get caught up in the convenience factor that this time provides, but we really need to just slow down sometimes and like
Mm-hmm.
just deal with the current situation. Like
Yep.
um I be thinking about, and I'm not knocking it because do whatever you do, but I be thinking about people when I pull up to Kroger and I see them sitting in the click list line. Like I'm just like I'm not letting nobody pick out my fruit. Like I'm
I
not.
will say I just started doing it though, and it hadn't been bad yet.
So you know what I'm saying, but
They
I'm just
finished. They
that's
got,
what I'm saying.
but it's crazy.
I'm
Keep go
not
ahead.
knocking it
Go ahead.
because my thing is I want to touch
Gotta
my
give
own
some.
bread. I want to touch the bread myself. Like I want to feel it, make sure I don't have a like all of that
That's
that
true.
stuff that I'm used to
Take away
doing.
the
I
experience.
yeah, I can't imagine
It
giving up
did
that
take it away.
yeah.
It did.
So
I don't actually. There's certain things I will not let them pick out. I will tell you that.
right.
I
So I
learned that
understand
You
really
like
fast.
you on
Not to
your
mention,
way.
like, hold on, man, before you go too far with it, because you know you be man, but you be dropping too many jewels at once.
He be
Now,
trying to be true.
you feel at once the sense of fulfillment that humans have in them. That's what I wanted to drop. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
when we take the process out of it. You know, I've always heard it. The beauty is in the journey, not the
Mm-hmm.
destination. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
what you went through to get to your goal.
Yes,
So
sir.
you feel me? It take that away. Go ahead, bro.
So
Yeah,
true.
yeah. I mean, that's exactly what I'm on. Like we decide ultimately whether we have time to do something or not. We can say,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, I ain't got time to do this because I need to da 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 da," and you can, you know what I'm saying, take the convenience route, or you can just make time. You know what I mean? I think we need to, work on making more time. You know what I'm saying? And I like
Yep.
we gotta figure out where we can carve these little pockets out at because it's important to not overstress your life because you best believe while you sitting in that click list line, some other stuff is going on. You on that phone, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
You still waiting
Yeah.
on them to come out, like
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? So
Hold on, Libra. They ain't checking they ain't checking their balances, man. Because once again, with your ass not going through that process of doing it, you feel me? You don't have like let's just
I'm
say
gonna mute it.
there was a checklist or you got a certain amount. You had to get 10 points a day. You feel me? And these 10 points came from you doing the things that was necessary to sustain your life. When you dial that shit out or allow for somebody else to do it, them numbers still go in as negatives. So for every day that you do for yourself, it really don't even count because you trying to outdo them days that you slick poisoned yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like just
Oh,
we some farmers. The patience that you have to develop to appreciate watching a plant grow. You know what I'm saying? It's a slow process sometimes, depending on what kind of plants you're dealing with. But even with that, each one has a process, and once you get to the end, there's a fruit that comes from that. And
it's good
through
having
us
a different
not going
perspective.
through these processes, you see why people have a lot of things that you feel like, darn, why you not happy yet? But it's all the things that they passed up. And if you look at them people, they don't have
Mm-hmm.
to do shit for themselves. You know what I'm saying? They got it all set up to where somebody else is doing it for them. But then you meet them, and you like, bro, why you never satisfied? Why you got a million and you focused on another million? It's cause shit, nigga. I can't be satisfied when I'm not satisfying the basics. My balance that has to be there
Mm.
by me still being in tune. They put Will Smith in a minivan. He thought he had, ordered an Uber. Even that was far fetched for him. You know what I'm saying? He was trying to enjoy a normal experience. He just wanted a normal man, bro. You'd be surprised how many celebrities will pay big dollar for some simple shit, like to
Mm-hmm.
rent out a normal person house just to be a normal person for for a while.
Hmm.
Because the reality is, you're not just nothing super special like the world is trying to puff you up to be. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like
Man,
that's not even the uniqueness of you when you having to act as other people.
Yeah.
yo,
You know what
it's
I'm saying?
so
So they applauding you for something, but it's not for you. So at some
exactly.
point, you reach that point where that balance ain't there, and you've
I
been seesawing so long to the motherfucking point. It's just staying on that one side because everybody done got up.
I want to have
All your
people
feelings done
I
got
want to
hurt
have
and
I
your
want to have
intentions
people
is
don't
left.
see that stuff because like for me, when I see somebody who's like legitimately starstruck, I'm like, how? Like I mean, I get
Mhm.
that you could idolize somebody. I don't think you should, but I think that you could idolize somebody, and you know what I'm saying, and then be happy to meet them. But when it comes to the extents of you know what I'm saying, passing out and crying and all this stuff, it's like, man, this is a person. Like,
But you got to think though, bro. It go with the energy of that person too. You know what I'm saying? You seen the people in church that they feel the spirit. They just cry. You know what I'm saying? And they don't even
yeah,
make a sound. They don't move. It's just tears flowing down their face. And then you seen from that spectrum all the way to a motherfucker running around the church.
yeah,
You
you
know what I'm
got a
saying? And
point.
screaming.
You got a
So
point.
it's all about the energy of that person when that spirit hits them. You see
You
what I'm
right.
saying?
You
So
right.
that be the situation with that. So if you get involved in some crazy shit, you gonna if you a person that's full of energy, you gonna be the killer. You know what I'm saying? Whereas the motherfucker that get involved in some crazy shit that got a decent heart, you know what I'm saying, is outgoing. He might just sell a few packs, make a few hundred a week. You know what I'm saying? Like he ain't trying to do too much, but this is the situation.
Touche. That makes sense.
Mhm.
Well, yeah,
That's one of
man.
the things that keep me from wasting my judgment on others. Cause we ain't with motherfuckers 24/7. And even if you was, you're not in like first of all, if you waiting on somebody else to express to you who they fully are, you know what I'm
You'll
saying?
be
And we
waiting.
all trying to figure it out,
You-
damn.
You'll be
Look, bro,
waiting.
that's disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what we do to each other a lot of times when we get disappointed in other people's actions
Mhm.
and shit like that. Nobody's gonna even be 75% who you think they gonna be. So at
Nope.
that point, it's like you only let yourself down. You hurt your own feelings by anybody else's actions. But we so tired and programmed to that by the time we adults, we
Mhm.
got expectations. You know what I'm saying? We feel like we owed some shit for real and don't even realize it, but it's just a judgment that we have for life. So
Yeah.
that judgment just trickle down here. Like,
Also,
shoot, hey, I ain't even asked to be here. No, I appreciate the fact that I'm here. Because I'm
Yes.
I
a
mean,
God having a human experience that even the angels wish they could have.
Yep.
I think one thing that I've realized about relationships, just to kind of give this a little different spin, is that you you should go into your relationship or any relationship expecting to settle. You know how people got this perception or this idea that they not gonna settle. It should be the exact
You
opposite.
settling down.
You
What the hell is
Yep.
that shit
like
called?
you should be going into it expecting to settle. Like you should be expecting to find a couple things that you don't like about that person, and making a space within you to be okay with it. Like, you know
Right,
what
right.
I'm saying? Yeah. I just wanted to throw that little tidbit
I
in there,
mean,
just for
let me
anybody.
let me let
Somebody
me
needed
veg it
that.
back with you, because I mean,
Somebody
literally,
needed that.
you're settling down.
Yeah, basics. Now,
You feel me?
but
So
people take that connotation as it's something within them that needs to settle down. Like they need to calm themselves. Like they're changing their actions, but you also need to
a
settle
lot.
for the actions of others as well, because you ain't gonna meet that
Yeah, yeah.
perfect person.
And the
They
balance,
perfect if
man.
you allow
You know
them
what I'm
to
saying?
be
It's
that.
both of them.
Yeah, they'll be a perfect
You feel
person.
me?
You can have the perfect person for you. You have to allow them to be that though. You can't expect them to be
You feel me?
a perfect person. They can be the
Mm-hmm.
perfect person for you though, if you allow it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
And
mean?
recognize the reason why they in the picture because you attract where you at. You feel me? So if you don't like where you at, you might not want to be trying to be dating right now. Like if you don't like your circumstances and like don't be out here trying to date, hoping somebody else got a better situation, then being let down. Nigga, you listen, Linda, you do not deserve to be in the conversation. Robert, you do not deserve to be getting the condensation.
He
You feel?
said,
Like it's
"Listen,
not
Linda."
happening. It shouldn't be happening. But when you do that, you set yourself up to get your feelings hurt. And I'm only
Mhm.
telling you because nigga, I got my feelings hurt. Hey, one too many times enough to be like, man, you know what? I don't want nobody else to go. I don't want nobody else to set themselves up for this failure. But a lot of us forget that childhood trauma become adult drama because a lot of us be lacking love. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, with that balance that you got to keep. So once you miss it all these days, boy, you just be
Mm-hmm.
thirsty when you get off the porch. Like, hey, I'm trying. Hey, where the hoes at? Hold on, hold on. And before we talk about anything,
Off the porch.
where they at?
You a fool.
Oh my
I
gosh,
need to, I
it's so
need to see
funny.
the essence, the elements that made me. You hear me? Because I don't even know why I'm here yet. Let me talk to Samson. Let me talk to the long hair. What is going on?
I
But
think in college that's how life was because I was sure lost. I ain't gonna lie. I
I'm
don't know
telling you.
what was going on out
But you had
out
the
here.
basis intact, I'm sure. You know, everybody was getting it in college. I know. I was
Just
college
like,
age
oh,
doing me. I wasn't in college, but
wait a minute.
hey, shit took a little detour. That's all I'm saying.
That
Shit
was
took a
funny.
little detour. I got it. Look, shit. Some niggas got degrees. Man, I got my GD, and it was another story. It was another story.
man, you a fool.
It was
So look,
another story.
we've been recording.
But like I was saying
Look,
about that
go ahead.
relationship shit, you know what I'm saying? Like everything is a relationship. The relationship we have with these luminaries, the relationship we have with each other. But pay attention to the area view. You could definitely get an understanding of the shit that's taking place on the ground. And you might not fall out with some of your family during this Mars retrograde. You know what I'm saying? Because it's definitely speaking to the close relationships right now.
For sure.
Hmm.
There's gonna be some shocking things that's gonna come up, but you're gonna have to learn how to breathe.
For sure.
Breathe and let some shit breathe before you even respond sometimes too. Because the things that you say in this moment, hey, until the next retrograde, you might have to sleep in that bed.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
make sure that if you do some shit, it's your intent, not you got caught in the moment because somebody was talking shit to you. But it's shit. You really wanted to lay something down that day, or you was done with this situation, like, cause hey, you stuck until this next cycle come back around. Whatever decisions you make right now, or what decisions you decide not to make, because a lot of us be dragging our feet and wait until a motherfucker get taken away from you. And be hurting
Hmm.
your feelings, the motherfucker saying the shit you wanted to say. Like, I'm leaving. Or what, nigga? Hold on. Now, you know how many times I want to leave you? Quit playing with me. Gonna leave me? All right. I'm gonna let you have that. You won. You won. At least you can't say I dumped your ass. You ain't got
This is
no
why
reason.
I just stay where I am in life. I just stay where.
Hey, I'm paying attention to the luminaries. I'm finna be like the luminaries. Look, I'm gonna pop up when it's time for me to do what I do, and I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen,
That's me.
full
We are
moon,
Gemini. This is what it is. This is
next
what I'm
full
talking to.
moon, I'ma
Gemini.
holler at you.
Bye.
It's gonna be
Bye.
amazing. You feel me? You don't think we never left. I'm gonna give you something to remember until I come back.
That's
But
hilarious. That's hilarious.
listen, I gotta go right now. I gotta go.
All right, so
Cause
check
right
this
now
out.
I can't stand people and I gotta go.
Check this out. So
Man.
we've been going. We about an hour and 20 minutes in, and I want to, bro. You ain't know about this, but I kind of wanted to touch on something that's a completely unrelated topic to this. So I'm gonna stop it. If you want to do it, I'm gonna stop this stream and start up a new one, so I can just have a whole nother thing. But if y'all want to get on it,
Mm.
um, I can, you know what I'm saying? We ain't got to stop right now. But if y'all want to talk about it, I do want to go ahead and, you know what I'm saying, give this one this proper time to
Yeah,
close
okay.
on out.
Well,
And
however.
then we can go on to the other thing. If y'all got some flat earth stuff, because I want to put a little tidbit of flat earth in this one too. Like any questions, you know what I'm saying, y'all might have, things y'all be thinking about. Let's bring them up now. And maybe spend like another,
Did you see the video
good
I sent
video.
you
No.
with the little dude talking about? Cause like some people that show the flat Earth model, they show different patterns of the sun and the moon, right? And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's this ring formation. where one ring is, of course, bigger than the other one, and then it's subsequently smaller rings within it. So, um, some dude, it was I can't think of his name. I'm saying some dude because I don't remember his name, but he raised questions. He was like, well, with that kind of model, he was like, why is it not summer all the time? You feel me? Like, because I think it was like the sun was on the biggest ring or something to that nature.
Yeah,
And
it's a very simple explanation for that.
that's why I wanted you to jump on it. That's why I was
Yeah.
like, man, hold on. I can't even shoot this nigga
I
right now.
can't
This
even
nigga
with
Yeah.
this
shoot
one.
me down.
So one thing we gotta realize when we talk about a flat Earth model is that you can get your model from people who have limited resources. Okay, it's not something to
Right.
live your life by. That's the
Mm-hmm.
first thing to realize. Ain't none of us got no rocket ships. Ain't none of us been to the edge. We not allowed the liberties to map this place out. Right? We don't have the freedom in our personal lives. We don't have the freedom, because of government, I'm saying, restraints and things like this to even explore the whole damn earth. So that's that on that. So what you're gonna get online is gonna be a relative representation of what we're experiencing. Okay. And that's as close as we're gonna be able to get you. We ain't saying to live by it, but we are saying that it's not no damn ball. So boom. Okay, the next part is the sun. When people debate this, they're still coming with the idea that the sun is this blazing ball of fire that's all these umpteenth million miles away. There's no when they counter these things, I haven't even seen the video you sent me, but I know when he counted these things, he's not taking into consideration the relative size and the relative
Mm-hmm.
distance between sun and earth. Now, they will tell you summertime starts the sun is at um when the sun is at for us. Summertime starts when the sun is directly above at its zenith, by definition, the Tropic of Cancer. Okay, this is on June 21st, first day of summer. Okay, this is north of the equator, right? As it recedes back towards the equator, it reaches the equator and gives us what we call the equinoxes, right? This is the beginning of spring for one hemisphere and fall for the other, okay? And then it reaches that tropic of Capricorn in the southern hemisphere, okay? And that's going to give them summer and us winter. And the cycle continues because it's cyclical. Just like everything else on this earth, everything operates in a cycle. Nothing leaves here, not even a drop of water. Okay, everything is cyclical. So what's happening is the sun is literally further away from you in the summertime, and that's why your days are shorter, right? The sun's not visible. It's got a wider orbit in the south. Um, and that's plausible. That's debatable because I think that the northern hemisphere, and I'm saying hemisphere as a relative term, I think it's relatively the same size as the southern hemisphere because we got something major to talk about at the North Pole and why it's a no-fly zone. Like, is there stuff up there that we don't know about? Why does on Google Earth is there a seam? There's literally a seam, like somebody stitched it together. Okay, it's not
What?
seamless. You know what I'm saying? There was a mishap. Somebody was on Google Earth a couple of years ago, and they was going through all kind of islands that just are not on the map. They was like, "What is all this?" So when you don't
Dang.
have the liberty to explore, you know what I'm saying, your natural surroundings, when you have things in place like no-fly zones and Antarctic treaties, don't come at me talking about my model ain't 100%. Obviously, it ain't gonna
Right?
be because you won't even allow it. So that's not something we can even debate. It's a relative representation. But what I can say is it's very clear that the sun is further away in the wintertime. And it's not It's not. So if we're gonna look at this from a globe model, right? The sun is 93 million miles away. Okay, y'all realize how big that is? The Earth's diameter is almost 8,000 miles. So you're talking about 93 million, and sometimes they say it's further. Sometimes we're
Hmm.
97 million, right? So I'm gonna put calculate this real quick. 93, hold on, damn it, 93 million miles away. We're gonna divide this by the diameter of the Earth, 8,000 miles. So there's 1,162 Earth distances between the Earth and the Sun.
Yeah, no.
You want me to believe that a relatively small change in proximity changes the season on one half of a ball, like the northern half of it is going to experience a different season because of this rotational axis that it's on. Like that's completely, I mean, if you think about that for 2 seconds, you can tell me right now that that don't make no sense. How is the bottom half of the ball gonna be hot and the top half experiencing winter, and then that shit switches? You know what I'm saying? 100 and something days later, like that makes absolutely no sense. It would make more sense that if they said at daytime it's summer and at nighttime it's winter. That would that would make more sense than just the top half of Earth experiencing summer and the bottom half is experiencing winter. How when it's all the same Earth and it's all the same distance from the sun? How's it?
I
How's it?
didn't even know they said that about the top half. Like,
Yeah, well, I mean, you know it by default though, right? Like when we're having summertime, they're having winter in the southern hemisphere. You know
I
what I
didn't
mean?
know that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The seasons
I
are
didn't know that.
opposite. Yeah, they
I did
have
not know
winter
that.
right now.
Where
They
have
are
I been?
right. So right now we're approaching fall, right? So when we have our let's see, hold on. Uh, let's see what's the official date. Fall equinox.
I'm over here like, wait, what?
Okay, the 22nd is the fall equinox, right? All right, so this
Yeah.
is this is where you know what I'm saying? This is where the sun is exactly above the equator. Okay, this is a neutral time for everyone. It will be summer for people at the equator, essentially,
What?
right? You know what I mean? Because this is where the sun is, directly overhead for them. But of course, it stays tropical year round for all eternity.
Yes,
So,
that's where I'm like, it's always warm there. Like, it
right,
might just get hotter. Like, what are
right.
we talking about?
I'm saying that was relative. Like if anybody has a summer while we're in fall and the summer and the southern hemisphere is in spring, it would you could say that it would be summer for those at the equator, right?
Okay,
But
yeah,
but
like,
technically they don't have seasons, right?
yeah.
So um so the thing is, and then I'm gonna bring something else up too. But the thing is that when the sun gets closer to those people, let's say Australia, it's literally, you know what I'm saying, changing their seasons. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it gets hotter in their summer and it's colder in their winter. I mean, and you know, we can't talk about the sun being directly overhead when it's 93 million miles away. This is
Yeah,
not, I mean,
no.
yeah, it's not overhead at all. And then let's talk about this. People who lay between the lines of Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn experience different sunsets. So
Oh gosh,
the sun can literally set on one side of your house for half of the year and the other side of your house on in the other half of the year.
that
I
is
mean,
some weird.
because
I ain't
look,
never.
yeah, I mean, it literally moves, from one tropic to the other, and it's the cycle that it takes. So, you can't travel based upon the sun the same that you can here at the tropics, right? We can always say, hey, when you're headed towards the sun, you're definitely headed south. If the sun is directly to your back, you're definitely headed north here. It's the opposite when you're on the other side of the equator. And if you live on the equator, it's
Dang, you're
opposite.
right. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's
Wow.
opposite for part of the year, and the other for the other half of the year. So
Wow.
I don't
I
even.
never even.
Yeah, I mean, so we're
So
not gonna
crazy.
sit,
I didn't even know that. Like I
we're not
did. I guess I did, and I just forgot.
we're
Like.
not gonna sit here and act like the sun is 93 million. Look, this is how you know the sun is close. In the morning time, when you I'm gonna give you two reasons why you definitely know that it's close and it's not 93 million miles away. Okay. In the morning time, if you stick your arm out into the sunlight, right, and you sit
Mm-hmm.
there, and I did this with my kids. My kids are 10 and 8, and this is what they'll tell you. You stick your arm out in the sun, you think about it. How does it feel? The intensity of the heat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you do the same thing at 12 o'clock. You do the same thing at 3 o'clock. You literally feel a different intensity in heat. I think
Mm-hmm.
most people know that it's hotter midday, right? It's not because
Mm-hmm.
the sun has, the oven's heating up. It's just because the sun is literally, closer to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In relative terms. Um, that's one way you know the sun, is relatively close. The closer it gets to you, the hotter it feels. Think about putting your hand over the eye on the stove. The closer you are to the eye, the hotter it's gonna feel.
Mm-hmm.
You raise your hand up, it's not gonna be as hot. This is basic observation, right? So
Yeah.
then the second thing is at the end of the day, or even in the morning, you see the red um sunset, right? And you can
Mm-hmm.
actually stare directly at the sun. When the sun
Right.
is close to you, you cannot stare at it. It's too
This is
bright. It's
true.
too close.
This is true.
The sun looks different in the evening, right? When it's setting. I mean,
Yep.
there's a lot of um atmospheric stuff going on between you and the sun. It causes it to look different. The light is scattered, right? You have this red effect. I mean, like it's clearly further away. And over the course of the day, with the Earth rotating, you're not getting that much of a, a distance change in a
Hmm.
heliocentric model to where you
Yeah. No,
wouldn't like you as
that's what
soon
I
as
was
the
thinking.
sun
Like,
rises,
no,
it
there's
should
no way.
yeah, as soon as the sun rises, it should be baking you the same way it bakes you at 12 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And all the way till it completely is just out of sight. You know what I mean? And that's just that on that. And things that are just think about this too. Let's say I got a flashlight and I'm shining it on you. Okay. Now if you look at that flashlight, or let's say I'm all the way down the street and I got a bright light. Okay. And you start turning your back towards me. Okay. The the
Mm,
the light is not going to disappear on a horizon. It's just gonna go off to the side till you can't see it anymore. Things that
yeah.
disappear on a horizon is a direct result of distance. And that's just a fact. That's something that is moving away from you. Things
Mm-hmm.
that converge on the horizon, the sun doesn't set, it doesn't get any lower. It just goes further away from you till
That's
it's,
true.
you know what I mean? And that's
It's just
all.
sliding across this plane right here, you know?
Right. It's just, yeah, the sun's burning the hell out of whoever is right there. Like, no. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Literally. I don't
Uh,
even
it-
understand how. After I looked into that part of the sun stuff, I was like, yo, people are crazy if they don't think it's flat. I'm just saying, like, you can see, like, if you're on the ocean, all you see is water. It doesn't curve. It should
yeah.
curve.
Yeah. I
The
mean,
sun
and
really does move across the sky.
I want to say this real quick. I want to say this for anybody who may eventually listen to this and just like, how can they say that it's flat? Ain't your floor flat in your house? Don't you drive on flat roads and then go up hills and stuff like that? Like, isn't your world relatively flat? Like, just picture a table, right? Now let's picture a table that's infinitely the size, like just an infinite table, right? Now you stand on top of this table, right? and you look up at the ceiling, and it's a popcorn ceiling. You know the ceilings that got popcorn on it,
Oh no, not the popcorn ceiling.
right? But that's the stars, right? That's the constellations, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's that. Now you got this infinite table, you got a popcorn ceiling. Now I want you to just imagine the popcorn ceiling turn into a night sky. All right. Now you still on top of this table. It's a big table. You can't see where the table ends. Right? Now
Mm-hmm.
I want the table to just turn into grass. Okay? Now put a couple hills on there, some trees and stuff. Don't they look a lot like where you live? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's flat. Like you don't experience around Earth. It's not even like the fact that you would argue that the fact that you would think that it's flat is illogical is what's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that you couldn't even understand the perspective of someone who just believed that it was flat. It's kind of like, you know, it's kind of crazy that people just refuse to even look into it, considering that you
Mm-hmm.
deal with a flat earth on a daily basis. You don't deal with going around curvature unless you're going up or down a hill. We don't, I mean, think about how we build. We everything is based upon a foundation, square, plumb, level. You know what I'm saying? These are things that we use, as a foundation to
Yep,
build
foundations need to be
things.
flat and solid,
So
solid flat.
why would we expect our world to be anything other than that? I get that they taught you it was a planet and that the stars are planets too. But let's undo that. Let's talk about reality. When you run across a field, it's flat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on, like, you know, y- you
When
can't.
you go across the country, like you don't like.
It's
I'm
flat.
sorry, but it doesn't go up or down with the curve of the earth, and
No,
you are driving flat across the country. Like we would literally say that you're going up the country. If you were going from the south to the north,
exactly,
but you're still going across the country.
exactly. Because right, that's another thing. People they conflate direction with altitude. North is not a
Mm-hmm.
height; it's a direction.
No, it's
Like,
a direction,
north is
literally.
not going up.
It,
Up is up. Up is away from the ground. That's what up is.
yep.
But I mean, and not to mention all the people on YouTube who have done countless videos, laser
Mm-hmm.
tests, and all of this stuff showing you,
Rocket
you, you know.
launch.
But the ones that kill me are the laser tests. There's a dude named D Marble who did a laser test across Puget Sound, and people still argue with him. I mean, the laser hit its target across 10 miles of water to another shore. I mean, the
Oh,
laser shouldn't have been able to make it because of the curvature of the Earth. It should have been blocked by, I can't remember if it was 60 feet or something like that of curvature. Either way it goes, a
he
laser
still
should
should
not be able
have
to. Yeah,
not
it should
hit
not. The
the point.
person's basically it should be shooting off into space. Think about what a ball is. If you're standing on top of a ball, I mean, if you're
Mm-hmm.
standing on top of a ball and you're pointing your laser, it's gonna go straight and you will have to come back at another angle in order to hit the earth again.
Mm-hmm.
That's just basic spherical trigonometry right there. I mean, um, the laser test, the spirit level test on the airplane, the one dude did. I mean, it shows you
Oh
that
yeah,
the
that and
plane
like how pilots fly. Period. They aren't flying with.
a
They fly with the
nosedive.
whole like what is that thing called? Oh, dang, I forgot what it's called. But in the cockpit, they have
Oh, the
basically a model of
gyroscope.
the Earth, and it's flat.
Yeah, I mean,
They don't tip the plane down every so many feet to go with the curvature of the Earth. They're just flying straight,
it's in the
and
name
everybody
of
knows
the.
this if they've
It's
been on a plane because they know when it's going down.
exactly. It's in the name of the craft. It's called an airplane. They don't. It's not in the name
Got
for
that
no
right. You
reason.
got that right.
I
An
mean, why do you
airplane
think they
up in
name?
the air going across the plane. There, it's right there.
I mean, if you want to argue that, you'll be arguing with yourself because I ain't gonna have it. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna argue with you about that. But
Watch a video. Go find a video.
I mean, countless tests done. I mean, what about the salt flats in like Bolivia? I mean, you can see across them for miles. They're flats. They call them salt flats because they're flat. The water, when it rains there, I mean, it's a perfect mirror image of the sky. You should look.
Man,
Everybody
it
should
look
look
like
that
you
up.
up in heaven.
What'd you say?
Said it look like you up in heaven.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. Why do you want to blaspheme our existence into something that is not? You know what I mean?
The
Um,
devil.
that's how
Okay,
I
we let
look at
that
it.
go too.
But speaking of blasphemies, do
Mm-hmm.
y'all want to get on this other topic?
Oh
Letitia,
gosh, that one. Yeah.
you do?
Mhm.
All right, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna say peace to everybody. Hit the like button, subscribe. I'm finna end this one. We're gonna start up another one. And peace.